Okay, so today we're going to do a crime zoom. In particular, we're doing the Bird of Ill Omen crime zoom. And it's just going to be us again, me and you. The other guys are away, so let's get it going. If you have not done a crime zoom before, it's a neat little system. Um, we're going to look at like some crime scenes, and that will lead us to leads, and we're basically, investigating, and we want to know as much about what's going on as possible, because at the end, when we give our report, not only do we need to know, who did it and why and how, what weapon and all that kind of stuff that you normally need to know for a murder investigation, but we'll need to answer some other questions about other circumstances going on. We want a full picture of the entire, situation and everyone involved. So, as always, we have some tools. I like to take my notes with dry erase to not waste paper. So we've got some tools over here for doing so, but we need to leave ourselves space to view the scene. So take the nine cards that don't have a number in the top left corner. Set up the main scene that is composed of these cards as shown below. Then stack the remaining cards to make the lead deck. You are ready to begin the investigation. I'll turn this card over. So we won't turn that card over until we have formed this as we have been told to do. So we are forming the first scene that we will be looking at. And these cards are, a lot of them are double-sided, meaning if we think a particular, area of the room warrants closer inspection, we just turn that card over to get a closer look at certain things. All right, trying to form this as carefully as possible to get full scene. So there's our body, the body. My hands are so clumsy, it's hard to not accidentally shift them around. Okay. So then the rest of these are numbered, and we will refer to them as we are. These are lead cards, and we refer to them as we are instructed. Alrighty, so we are ready to begin. We're going to put this over. Paris, 2018, Friday, 7 a.m. A secure office building at 6 Rue de Paradis. The janitor was instructed to take out the garbage, but this morning there was no trash in front of the offices on the top floor. Hearing music inside, he rang the doorbell, but no one answered. The janitor half opened the door and discovered the crime scene. He notified the owner of the building, Mr. Martinet, who called the police. So the first thing we can do is first lead we can follow is lead number 10, question Mr. Martinet. So we don't have to follow that lead immediately. We can, take a look at our crime scene first. But yeah, we'll go ahead and talk to him, and then we'll examine the scene a little just to get the broad strokes, right? And then we will examine the scene in greater detail. I'm going to say Regis, but it might be Regis. Regis Martinet, 55 years old. Oh dear, what a story. Lise Monet, an internet consultant, I believe. This is Lise Monet, Monot, or whatever. She paid, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. She paid her deposit in 3 months of rent in advance with her grandma as co-signer. I knew she worked odd hours, but I never thought she would use my office building as her home. I don't want any trouble. Yesterday, there was even a bald guy who came asking questions about her. The private investigator. He left his card, but I didn't tell him anything. I respect the privacy of my tenants. So we can follow the degree where we would take the business card of the private investigator, and we most likely will do that at some point. But we're going to take a closer look at this scene first. Like, one moment. Always need to check on the well-being of the dog. All right. So let's see. Well, her computer might have significant information on it, so let's take a look at that. This seems to be like a remote control. Looks like a TV remote, but honestly, it could be any sort of like universal remote. Looks like that's a geek vegan, maybe a vegan pizza takeout. Mini fridge there, there's a photograph there. We'll probably take a look at that at some point. And we've got maybe security footage. So before we even check out the computer, let's check out the security footage. See if the security footage shows us anything. The surveillance camera points towards the front door. This type of Wi-Fi camera records to a server which can be accessed remotely via a web browser. So we'll probably go to the computer next. So let's go ahead and slide that one out. This little poster here, it says like silence equals death. And this sign up here, the Lesbos tour, Alquette Club, okay, Lesbos. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. It's Lesbos, like the name of a group. Lesbos. Well, anyway. Here's another vegan cookbook. So, and management, so books of different titles, veggie. But apparently, leading us to believe that she chose to be vegan. But anyway, the victim manages a very influential activist Twitter account with several thousand subscribers using the handle Blue. So that's her handle. She posts about the contentious practices of a company called Bird, which publishes commercial antivirus software. She accuses them of self-publishing viruses. So we have two potential leads here. 20, we could go to Bird's offices. 18, we could read Blue's Twitter feed. So we'll might do that at some point. I was hoping to get to where the security footage was, but we might have to fire that some other way. Let's take a look at the body. This is. You also need to like take a look at the pictures themselves for like sometimes it'd be clues or evidence, just in the artwork. So you don't want to get distracted by the back to the point that you're not, reading the front or looking at the picture on the front person. You really need to pay attention to that. Right now we're gonna put those back into places. All right. The victim is a young woman, approximately 26 years old. She appears to have been strangled. The desktop PC is disconnected and secured with a password as well as a cryptographic lock. It cannot be decrypted within the investigation period, so we won't be able to do that, is what we're saying. The laptop is logged into Twitter. Now we can get the autopsy report 15. So that's a potentially useful thing. Okay. Let's see what the private investigator has to, let's take that card. We don't want to jump to the immediate conclusion that Blue's death is directly related to their Twitter feed, the activism on their Twitter account, or to Bird, the company called Bird that she was posting, again, that she was having an issue with, right? Because that may or may not have anything to do with the motive and circumstances of her death. She's been doing this for a while. It's hard to say if like she was having any sort of negative impact on Blue's image, or if Blue is the kind of company that would, seek to rectify such an image issue or such a problem, but through murder, right? This might be more personal. There might be a more personal motivation elsewhere in her life. But what we do know, so that's why we're not doing these leads immediately. This is why, okay. The autopsy report is crucial information. We definitely want that. But the reason why I'm going to take the business card and follow up with the private investigator is the private investigator, according to this, according to his statement, right here, it says, yesterday there was even a bald guy who came asking questions about her, the private investigator. So the private investigator was investigating something to do, connected with her the day before she's discovered dead. So that has a, time-wise speaking, that has a greater chance of being directly relevant to the circumstances of her death. Did she know something? Did somebody, was she going, we don't know, right? All we can do is speculate. But the point is that is a change of circumstance in her life. Presumably, she's been living here for a while. She's been posting her activist comments on her Twitter feed against Bird for a while. So that's all status quo, right? people aren't usually murdered for the status quo. They're usually murdered for a change to status quo. So the private investigator coming represents some sort of change in the status quo, right? So that's the thinking there. So that's why we're going to talk to them. So, or we're going to take the business card with the potential to talk to the private investigator. So 53. So that's down here. Okay. So here we go. Here's the card. It says, private investigator Joseph Boucher, Rue Bouchardin, address 50. We can go to the detectives, right? And it says, here's his handwritten notes. We'll pay cash for any info on blue / lease Monat. So somebody, now she is blue. Well, she's blue, lease Monat, but he left this card with Regis Martinet, right? So he's basically telling Regis Martinet, I'm willing to pay cash for any info on this individual. That's his notes on the business on the business card. So let's go to the detectives and talk to him about it. So this is giving us a new secondary scene. This scene right here. We completed with card for everyone, right? So this is the private detective. Here's his office. So now we're going to presumably speak to him. Joseph Boucher, 48 years old. Oh, sorry. The rest of that one. Stay down. Okay. Bird's lawyer, Ms. Beverin, hired me to search for information before the trial. Blue was harassed and even moved out of her house to live locked up in her secure office. She's extremely suspicious. No one visits. Organic food always delivered by the same delivery man. I even went through her garbage. She shreds her papers. She has a girlfriend, a purple-haired girl, who spotted me right away. We went to a lesbian club, the Alouette Club, which is this one here. So I guess it is the Lesbos church. I stopped trailing her there. So from here, we again could go to Bird's offices. So we've got two potential leads, the Bird's offices. So Bird's lawyer hired him to search for information before a trial, some trial, right? Blue was harassed and even moved out of her house, lived locked up here, according to him. So, in a sense, he's claiming that he worked, indirectly, through the lawyer for Bird, the target of Blue's Twitter, activism campaign, right? So it seems to be that there is a connection to the whole, Bird, thing. But again, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Let's see if we can get a peek at these files. Expense report. Again, we can go to Bird's offices, but we can go to Ted Poussin's as well. So apparently, expense report, contractor. M. Joseph Boucher, that's him. He's the private investigator contractor. Foreign amount, paid cash. So he hired recipient Ted Poussin for information. And so Joseph paid Ted Poussin. Again, I might be mispronouncing it. I have difficulty pronouncing some of the French names because, it's not my, native language, right? So apologies. Um, just apologies. I don't always know how to pronounce French names and words. Um, so the case involving Blue paid um, 500 euro, it looks like, to a Ted Poussin for information, so we could go follow up with Ted Poussin. Now, he said um, he stopped trailing Blue at the Alouette Club. Again, I might be mispronouncing that. So we could go to that club as well. But let's take a look at the autopsy report. Let's see what kind of death we're dealing with. Whether it's a passionate one, a premeditated one. Give us some sort of characteristic of how she was killed. Um, 26-year-old woman, 48 kilograms, equal symbol tattooed on her neck. So we got a silence equals death, and we got an equal symbol tattooed on her neck. Potential, connection. We might flip this, right? Pierced ears, died of strangulation in less than a minute. Analysis indicates that she most likely stood up when she saw her attacker and tried to fight in vain. Time of death approximately 11 p.m. Unknown toxicological substance detected in the blood and liver. No trace of rape. Vegetarian diet. Vegetarian diet. Is she vegetarian, vegan? Something in between the two, right? But so that's what that's telling us. Okay. So, like we said, let's take a look and see what we found over in this corner, maybe. Tour poster of a music group that performed in concert this year at the Alouette Club in Paris. We can go to the club, which we already have, no way to get to the club. But I was hoping it would tell me more about the Silence Equals Death poster. It did not. At least this card didn't. This looks like her and a redhead, so that's probably her and her girlfriend. So we're going to take a look at that. See if we can get a, there we go, like a better photo dated summer 2017. Now, this whole case is starting in, basically she died 11 p.m. Thursday, 2018. Don't know the month, but So this was dated, some months or year prior. I'm going to flip over this and maybe this. I'm looking for more information about that poster, but also we need to know how to access the security camera. This isn't medication. It appears to be a homemade ecstasy / uppers chemical substance. Maybe the substance that was found, detected in her blood and liver. Fingerprints can be found that do not belong to the victim. So we can grab the toxicology screen. We can search the fingerprint database. So let's hold off on that for now. And let's take a look at what this remote might do. Oh, it's not a remote, it's a phone. It is like a brick phone, like an old Nokia. Okay. I used to have one of those before flip phones. Before smartphones, there was flip phones, and before flip phones, there were these, you know, brick cell phones, and before those, there were big ones with the antennas and stuff. Anyway, older generation phone, it's broken. The SIM card is still inside, and the internal memory appears to be intact. The data should be usable. So 34, we can listen to the voicemail. 52, we can search the phone's memory. Let's listen to the voicemail, see if it's recent and relevant. Two voicemails on Blue's phone. 10:50 p.m. Male voice. This one here. Hello, it's Jeremy with your pizza. Female voice. What's up? You're not answering my text messages. I'm on my way. Our pizza is going to be cold. Love you. So the experts have extracted the two attached voice signatures, so we can match these to mimic some other things. Notice there's a voice signature here. So Joseph Gooder. It's not either of these, right? That does not match up. But this is a clue. We're being told clue number 2. I'm on my way. Our pizza is going to be cold. Love you. So that's probably the girlfriend. If this is Lisa's phone, this is either Lisa's phone or the girlfriend's phone left behind. Okay. Then this at 11:28. But here's the thing. 11:28 p.m. 10:50. Oh, it says on Blue's phone. So this is they're confirming that this is Blue's phone. Two voicemails on Blue's phone. So 10:50 is like 10 minutes before, her approximate time of death. That's approximately 11 p.m. So 10:50 p.m. Hello, it's Jeremy with your pizza. Right? Here's the pizza box. So either, he wasn't really the pizza delivery guy, and that was his excuse to get through the door. He killed Lise. But then you have this female voice. What's up? You're not answering my text messages because at 11:28 she's supposedly already dead, right? I'm on my way. Our pizza is going to be cold. Love you. So how does she know about the pizza being? Oh, maybe because she knew that Lise was ordering the pizza, but they were going to, wait and eat it together. And she's like, I'm on my way, but I'm running late, so it's gonna be cold. I think I'm leaning more towards maybe the killer pretending to be Jeremy with the pizza, and really the girlfriend was going to be bringing the pizza. I'm unclear. I mean, there's a couple ways to read that, but it's significant. It's telling us it's a clue. It's telling us it's significant. We need to talk to this girlfriend, and we're probably going to find her. Well, we can search the phone's memory. So before we are done with the phone, let's search the phone's memory, see what we can find. So that's lead 52 right here. Well, clue number 1. The device, talking about Lisa's phone, is configured not to accept Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connections. No data or photos except the text messages from yesterday. So confirming that these text messages are from the day she died. Text messages exchanged with Ratcher. Probably the name of the girlfriend. talks about meeting on Thursday to eat the usual 11 p.m. pizza. Rapture informs that she will be late, then and she doesn't get any answer from Blue, worried messages. Call from Blue to Geek Vegan at 9:34. Several calls from the landline in Bird's offices were rejected yesterday. Everything else has been erased. So Lise ordered the pizza from Geek Vegan, which there's the box, at 9:34. So maybe Jeremy, was at 10:50 was the legitimate delivery person for that pizza, but then she was killed soon thereafter, and Rapture, the girlfriend, saying that she'll be late, and that's why she's saying our pizza was going to get cold, because she knew that per their standing routine, Lisa would be ordering the pizza for them to eat at 11, but because Rapture was going to be late and they were going to intend to eat together, the pizza would therefore be cold by the time we got around to it. So that kind of explains these text messages. That gives context. So that's what we wanted to do. Kind of narrowing in, but 9:34 is quite a bit before 10:50, right? So here's the thing: it's like, I don't know what world they're in, but in the world we're in, you generally get your pizza quicker. Like if you order a pizza at 9:34 and it came at 10:50, like nearly an hour and 20 minutes later, or hour and 16 minutes later, whatever, or hour and 14 minutes later, whatever, you get what I'm saying. Hour and 16 minutes later. If it comes an hour and 16 minutes later, that's a big time discrepancy right there. That's an issue for me. She ordered the pizza. She called from Blue to Geek Vegan. She orders the pizza at 9:34, but Raptures talks about meeting on Thursday to eat the usual 11 p.m. pizza. So why order a pizza at 9:34 that you intend to eat at 11 if it unless it is a pizza place that just really takes more than an hour to make the pizza and deliver it, which I don't know. Maybe it's different in France than it is here. Or maybe it's a better quality pizza. Who knows? Okay, but I'd like to talk to this girlfriend, and I'm thinking the place to find her is going to be either by going to the club, or maybe the fingerprint database might be the fingerprints for Rapture. But let's try the club first. So 13, right? We got that lead here, and we've got it over here. Here's the scene. It looks like this is probably Rapture, the girlfriend. Another secondary scene. All right, so let's talk to her. Angela Pencil, 26 years old. We used to be close, but Blue changed. She ditched me when she met that girl with purple hair. Ooh, not the current girlfriend. So this is not Rapture, or this is not Rapture. This is not Rapture. Rapture is the new girlfriend with purple hair. This is the old girlfriend, Angela Pencil. Okay. And so also not the person leaving the phone message today. She changed when she ditched me when she met that girl with purple hair, Rapture. She got her hooked. She, meaning Rapture, got her hooked on some drug that made her paranoid. Blue got caught taking some at work back when she had that community manager job at Microclub. We did see a community manager. It got out of control fast. Now Blue doesn't go out anymore. She's suspicious of everything, sometimes with good reason. Last night, a blonde chick came here asking questions about her. She acted flirty, but she stood out with her hoop earrings. Here, she left her card, so we can take a look at Rapture's police file, right? And that might connect up with the fingerprints in the database. But we can also take this business card of the person asking after Blue. So let's do that. We want to know who really showing interest in Blue. So we're going to go read 25. Something happened recently, right? Okay, so this is a business card of Bird, right? So this is our third reference to the Bird's offices. Boom, 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 boom. Two on here, but they're all the same reference, really. So this is Clarice Pelican works for Bird, apparently, trying to talk to Blue. So, but I want to talk to Rapture. First of all, we'll take a look at this side. Notice this and that are similar pictures, right? Bottles of suspicious pills were hidden in the toilet. That junk is Rapture's. She deals here. So I guess these are pictures of pills or something. If I kick her out, other dealers will come even worse than Rapture. Please don't shut the club down. I will help you. I know where to find that bitch. So we can analyze the pills, which might, which is the same as this toxicology screen. So we already know that these pills and these pills are the same because they lead to the same lead number, 11, right? Rapture's police file 12, which we also get over here. We could question Rapture because now she's saying she knows where to find question. Rapture, we want to question Rapture. That's what I'm even wanting to do is talk to the current girlfriend, right? Get the current, get the current pulse, right? The nearest, if not blood relation, the nearest, relationship, right? We'll put this Bird information over here. Annabelle Lenotte, 28 years old. How did you find me? It's Angel from the Alouette Club. That little bitch hates me. She's jealous of me. She's Blue's ex. I have nothing to do with this murder. Someone is setting up Bird Corporation. Loisette is a thief who made her fortune by privatizing the code of a free and open source antivirus tool. The police are just as bad. You are part of a corrupt system that protects people like her. Loisette? I don't know that we came across that name. But she's saying someone is setting up Bird Corporation. Not that Bird Corporation is behind it. Anyway, but then she's not really seems to be saying nice things about Bird if Bird is the one who privatized the code of the free and open source antivirus. The police are just as bad. You are part of a corrupt system that protects people like her. You're all liars and thieves. Sellouts. I won't say another word. I want my lawyers. It says if we have clue one or two, which we do, we can seize her phone and search it. Oh, we definitely will be. Rapture, aka Annabelle's phone. History of text messages exchanged with Blue. Talks about meeting up to eat their usual pizza at 11 p.m. Informs that she will be late, 11:18 p.m. Seems worried that she's not getting an answer. Multiple unsuccessful calls going straight to voicemail. 5 minutes past midnight, so 05 a.m. Uses her web browser to connect to the video surveillance feed. Appears to erase video surveillance files. 8 a.m. Spreads the rumor of Blue's murder by Bird on Twitter. We can find the video files. But this is interesting. It appears 8 a.m. spreads the rumor of Blue's murder by Bird on Twitter. But here she said, I have nothing to do with this murder. Someone is setting up Bird Corporation. Which is it? Is she defending Bird Corporation or implicating them? Because then further she talks about like Bird being a bad corporation or implies that. And here, well, anyway, we haven't looked at the Twitter feed. We might need to do that, but first let's take a look at those video files because she used a web browser to connect to the video surveillance feed and appears to erase video surveillance files. So let's see why. So 26. Oh, and this voice signature does match this voice signature. So Rapture / Annabelle is the person leaving that message at 11:28. But according to this, at 11:18, she said she would be late, and then there were some missed calls, and then the voicemail was, why are you not answering my text messages? Okay. So here's the arrival. 11 p.m. Has the door buzzed open and enters. Departure 11:10 p.m. Geek. So he's a guy wearing the geek vegan hat. So he might be the murderer. On the presumption, this is time of death approximately 11 p.m. He's got the time window opportunity, right? Then you've got her arrival 11:30 p.m. knocks twice, then enters. Departure 11:32. But why, why damage recordings dated Thursday? Erased video surveillance files. This is very sus, very suspicious, right? Well, let's take a look. Let's clear up what this Twitter feed looks like. So 18. Blue voice. The account has some unfriendly followers. Blue has been the subject of systematic attacks from this is Cowboy upside down backwards, so at Cowboy and his followers. This is serious harassment tinged with homophobia. Apparently he's the leader of a community of video game fans who do not appreciate her actions at Microplay. He brags about having already forced her to move once in retaliation. At the beginning of the campaign against Bird, C. Pellerin.Bird, who is this individual, I'm presuming, right? Probably Clarice Pelican is C. Pellerin. That Bird tried to ease the tension and then suggested a meeting, but in vain. So we could take a look at the Microplay press file We could go to Micro Club. Let's take a look at this pizza because it's a little, maybe it's a little sus. Oh, we get a fingerprint. Nice. Vegan pizza from the Geek Vegan restaurant. The uneaten pizza seems fresh enough to be from yesterday. You can go to the restaurant and there's a fingerprint. So we're going to go to the restaurant because if she's not the killer or covering up for the killer, you know, like the killer, if the killer arrives sometime between this person, if this person is, you know, is Jeremy, an actual pizza delivery guy, and he's completely innocent, and some other killer arrived soon thereafter, and then she deleted surveillance footage to cover that up, then she's an accomplice at the very least, right? Or she deleted footage of herself arriving, committing the murder, then leaving, and then coming back in again, and then retaining the video surveillance of her arriving at 11:30 and just doing the show of knocking, already, you know, having already committed murder, and no one's going to answer the door, right? But if that's not the case, if she's innocent, not involved, and he's actually the killer, and he's hiding his face under that hat from the surveillance, then it might be his or even her fingerprint on the pizza box, and we might be able to clear that up by going to the restaurant. So we're going to go to the restaurant. This is Ibis, 32 years old, from Geek Vegan. This voice pattern does not match one that we have. We didn't really expect it to. Yes, the chick at 6, Rue de Paradis, our best customer. A meal delivered every evening, but she only wants Jeremy to deliver her food. He is a high-level cyclist. He goes everywhere with his competition bike. It has a GPS tracker. The Hubert Home Delivery app allows us to optimize his deliveries, but lately he's screwing up. I haven't been able to reach him since 11 p.m. last night. If you see him, please tell him to come back to work right away. Here's his address. So let's go to Jeremy's and see if we can verify Jeremy, right? We also might check the delivery of it. We're going to first go to Jeremy. So there's another little scene. This was, and we've got this secondary scene here. So let's talk to this guy here. Gaston Pruitt, 55 years old. The police at last. I've been trying to get someone to listen to me about this Jeremy character for ages. A pizza delivery man? Who needs to eat at midnight? He's a shady trafficker. He rides his bike right into the building. Then he messes up the common areas when he parks it. I hear him every night, except last night, actually. I've said it again and again at the neighborhood watch meetings, but no one ever does anything. What a strange world we live in. We could look up Jeremy's police file, which would be 54, right? But let's see if we can go to Jeremy's apartment. Not a soul, no one from inside. A business card was slipped under the door. So we can pick up the business card, which we will do, because we like business cards. We at least like to see who it's from. Oh, 53. We already have that one. So that's the same private investigator who's willing to pay cash. But he paid a Ted Pooson We didn't follow up with Ted Pooson, so let's follow up with Ted Pooson now. We might need to look into Jeremy's police file, check the delivery app. There's a lot of other leads that we could follow. But let's go back to this private investigator and who we got information out of. We tried to get information out of Jeremy. We don't know if he ever did, but it looks like he paid for information to Ted Pooson. So 36. Okay. We've got another secondary scene here. We might note-taking tools over here. We do another secondary scene. Okay. Ted Pooson. Ooh, Ted Pooson is Cowboy. Blue has been the subject of systematic attacks from Cowboy and his followers. So this guy is the, upside down backwards Cowboy. So this is the guy that has been leading attacks against Blue, leader of community game fans who do not appreciate her actions at Microplay. Okay. Nah, but it's not serious, right? I had nothing to do with it, okay? Don't tell my mother, she'll take away my computer. I just love microplay video games. I even wanted to work there when I got older, so when Blue attacked the company, I kind of lost it. I sold her personal address to the private investigator there, Mr. Luthor, a big bald guy. He's the one you should see. You've already been to the detective, right? We won't look in the microplay just yet. Let's see what else is going on over here. So I ordered my pizza from Geek Vegan last night. A red-haired guy on a bike delivered it at 9:30 p.m. I remember I paused my game. The computer log files confirmed that Ted was playing online at the time the crime occurred. Okay. But red-haired guy. This would take us to Geek Vegan. We've already been to Geek Vegan. But Jeremy didn't make his ruckus last night, according to him. So maybe Jeremy was intercepted and replaced with this other guy, right? We could take a look at Jeremy's police file and see if that gives us a description of him. But let's check the delivery app, 23. Because, excuse me, Blue ordered the pizza at 9:34, and at 9:30 was when supposedly Jeremy delivered pizza to Couson, Ted Pooson, Cowboy, whatever, nemesis of Blue, right? So, okay. So let's take a look, 23, at the delivery app. Let's see what his delivery route look like. Okay. We got a door code. We go to Ted Pooson's. We've already been there. Delivery, Mr. Pooson completed for 4/5. Order received for Mr. Martin, 8 Rue Victor Hugo. Go to Jules Martin's for 9:32. Lise Manoit is our victim. So this is saying order received for our victim, for Blue, at 9:34. That lines up, right? Delivery, Martin J, completed 5:05. Order received for Mr. Ann, 7B, blah, blah, blah. 10:40, delivery, Ms. Manoy delayed. 11:02, delivery, Ms. Manoy completed 5:05. And then we got some more stuff. Pickup delayed. $11:15. So there's some complaint from Geek. Your score has been lowered to 2. Something happened. He might have been waylaid or he had stopped being murdered, right? But see, this whole delayed, maybe he was intercepted. Let's take a look at the police file on Jeremy, and it might not match, might have a fingerprint that does not match that fingerprint, indicating that Jeremy was waylaid and replaced. So Jeremy's police file, 54. It does give us a fingerprint. Jeremy Legel, mad biker, 30 years old, arrested in 2017 for fighting with a motorist following a road accident while cycling. Known for participating in many professional cyclist events in Paris, cleared of a doping charge in 2016 in the transcontinental race, endurance race. You could go to his home, look 45. We've already done that, right? But I'm trying to figure out if this fingerprint and that fingerprint are the same thing. Annoyingly, I think they are. So this does appear to be Jeremy's fingerprint, and he is red-haired. So that lines up with this. But he just doesn't seem to be clicked. Oh, but you know what? This might not be this guy here. The red-haired guy on the bike delivered it. Didn't say a guy wearing a cap, right? And his complexion and level of stubble, at least in this picture, but this is a picture from the police files, arrested in 2017, so this is not necessarily what it looks like now. But it may not be, this guy may not be this guy. That's still very real possibility, even though this fingerprint does seem to be that fingerprint. That just means Jeremy had the pizza box at some point, but then the delivery got delayed. But you've got delivery Martin J. So yeah, so let's go to Jules Martin, not for the 932, and see what we can glean from that, right? This is a much larger secondary scene. We'll move this one up here. I'm just shifting some of these around. Make some space. Okay. Ooh, 32. Ooh, this is going to be a much larger. Oh. Ah. We've got this whole bike thing going on, and we've got two dudes. Are they dead? Are they OV'd? Are they passed out? Are they what? But this is Jules Martin's order. So delivery, order received, delivery, order received from Mr. and whatever. So this is order received for Mr. Martin, right, at 9:32, delivery completed at 10:02. So that is like a 30-minute window, right? So why then order received at 9:34 and then it's like over an hour later and it says it's delayed, and then it's still another 22 minutes before it says, oh, it's been completed. So this, yeah, this is a potentially significant scene. So let's take a look at this guy here. Male, clean shaven, dark brown hair, driver's license indicates that this is Jules Martin, 35 years old. Alcohol stains on his shirt, no signs of violence. The body has not been moved. Death occurred no more than 2 nights ago. We can get an autopsy report. So this dude is dead. But it occurred no more than 2 nights ago. And then this guy. Is this our cyclist? Male, yes. This is Jeremy. Male, red hair, athletic build. On his person's license identifying him as Jeremy Lagle. And 45 euros, scratches, signs of a struggle, and a blow to the head. The body appears to have been dragged into the chair from the floor. So we can get these autopsy reports, but let's take a look at this bike. High-end sports bike, very well maintained. The smartphone on the handlebars belongs to Jeremy Lagle. It is open to a delivery app that is connected to the vegan restaurant. Some hairs are caught inside the helmet. We need to analyze those hairs, but we need to take a look at the delivery log and see how that different. Oh, this is the delivery log, right? Yeah. So the app is just taking us to the same delivery log. That's fine. Um, we need to analyze the hairs. 44. Okay. Two different types of hairs. Red-haired, the first is from a red-haired man, healthy lifestyle, traces of air pollution, positive toxicology matched to doping products common in the world of cycling and running. So that's him. Two, unknown man with very dark brown hair, former smoker. So this is going to be our killer. This guy is that guy because Jeremy is dead. And this guy was killed some time ago. So let's take a look at this autopsy report, 47. Wow, you're getting some. 35-year-old man, dental records confirm that this is George Martin. Victim died within hours of alcohol poisoning, aggravated by excessive consumption of antidepressants. He fell asleep and never woke up. Blood alcohol level estimated at 0.3 at the time of death. Death occurred during the night between Tuesday and Wednesday. No sign of violence. So he was dead long before this order was ever placed. That order was placed just to get Jeremy there to then take over Jeremy's route in order to get in order to kill her. That was the whole point of that. We might have to come back to Jeremy's autopsy report, but at the moment, we have the dark hair, former smoker. She, what's her involvement? 8 a.m. This says 8 a.m. spreads the rumor of Blue's murder by Bird on Twitter. But that's in contradiction to her statement, which says someone is setting up Bird Corporation. He said it's a thief. Let's talk to this Bird person. So we're going to go to the Bird offices. We've been, avoiding that, but we're going to have to go, it looks like. This is a man's hair, so it's not a woman's hair. We know that's a man, that we can tell that's a man anyway. Okay. So Lasoy is the one that she accuses of. She's what Rapture / Annabelle was saying was Lasoy is a thief who made her fortune by privatizing the code of a free and open source antivirus tool. But right before that, she said someone's setting up Bird Corporation. I wonder if setting up means something different, like the expression setting up means something different, in French before translated to English than it does to us, right? It's just, that's the inconsistent fact. But we came to speak to Clarice Pelican, the lawyer, and then we'll probably end up talking to the CEO. So Clarice Pellerin, here it says Pelican, here it says Pellerin. So I think maybe that's a typo because her email is C Pellerin at .bird. 41 years old. Lise Monod, that's her real name. I'll be honest with you. Twitter gave her the perfect audience for her anti-capitalist paranoid attacks. I believe that Miss Blue is quite mentally ill. I have my sources for this information, but I'd rather keep them to myself. She's also the one who hired the protagonist. First, the microplay scandal, and now us. Emma asked me to be accommodating and to explain. Okay, I tried compromise, I tried contact, but you can't negotiate with crazy people. I'm not surprised that she ended up this way. So we're being led back to some microplay connections, right? Press file, whatever, go to microplay. Let's see what the CEO has to say while we're here. We can just take a look at that card also. I'm hearing a noise. I'm wondering if it's raining. One moment, as my dog is outside of my bedroom. It is raining. Buffy, come inside. Come here. Come here. Come here, Buffy. Come on. Oh. Yes. Okay. Apologies for that. When I left my dog outside, it was a really nice day, and then it started raining. I should have checked the weather earlier, and I did not. Okay, so we are speaking with Emma Luswat, PDG, which I'm not sure what that stands for, but we've also been told that she's the CEO. I'm sorry, but Blue is wrong. This hacktivist illegally obtained information about our antivirus strategy and came to an inaccurate conclusion. Yes, we deliberately leak code that can be used to create viruses. Nowadays, teenagers program viruses from code they find online all the time. This is how we test our software and immediately spot and neutralize these viruses. Blue revealed it all in some sort of personal crusade against us on Twitter. She could have come to us first, but no, she would rather stir up trouble just like she did with microplay. We have the voice prints there. What else is at the office? The access badges confirm that Ms. Lasoit and Ms. Pellerin were in a meeting until 11 p.m. Bird's files show an investment in the capital of Jules Martin's company, Microplay. Oh, so Jules Martin, he's the Microplay guy. The guy who died and then was replaced. Yeah, okay, so um, Bird's files show an investment in the capital of Jules Martin's company Microplay in 2015. Ms. Pellerin's accounts prove that she hired Joseph Butor, a private investigator, to investigate Blue. We could go to the attachments we have already. We could go to Jules Martin. We have it. Okay, so um, that's that information. But we did. I did not know. We did. I did not know. I'm assuming you did not know the connection between Jules Martin and Microplay. But we might get more from his computer then. So let's take a look at his computer. And there's also some files here. We're going to take a look at his files also. The PC isn't locked. Last connection today, Friday at 1 a.m. We can take a look at the internet browser history and we can take a look at emails. Let's take a look at the internet browser history, because our killer may have done some internet browsing from that computer. Last time on the internet, this Friday around 1 a.m., okay, search for countries that do not have an extradition treaty with France. So the killer is like using this as their base of operation, kind of thing. Price search for a photo for plane tickets to party in Paris as soon as possible, heading to any of the following New Zealand destinations: Auckland, Christchurch, Wellington, or Queenstown. Yeah, okay, so that's significant. It tells us where the killer is likely trying to feed to. And let's take a look at these files. Microplay company files. Managing Director Jules Martin, partner Emma Solot, contributing via Bird 8. Initial input, Victor Martin, 7,500 euros in 2013, bankruptcy in 2018 following a drop in sales in Asia. Lise Lenoit is the former community manager dismissed for serious misconduct at the end of 2017. So Lise Lenoit was dismissed, so this is Blue, serious misconduct, as the community manager for serious misconduct in 2017. Okay. Let's take a look at these emails. So 38. Let's see some emails. Maybe some emails with maybe Rapture. Uh, uh, from uh, two from Jules Martin Microplay to admin at Microplay. Hello, sir. I found the new address of the evil Blue. Her name is Lise Manoy, and she lives at 6 Rue de Paradis. I'm telling you so you can shut her up and save Microplay video games. I love your games so much. They're so great. Stay strong, sir. Signed, your greatest fan, Cowboy. Find and question the author. So we have, that's over here. We're familiar with him. We need to go to Microplay, apparently. So 48. The company Microplay filed for bankruptcy. From the company register, we learned that managing director Jules Martin was associated with Emma Losoy through her company Bird. We could go to either of those places we've already been. That's all we learned. That was at least digging. Apologies for that. He kind of had it out, but it says the computer log files confirm that Ted was playing online at the time the crime occurred. I mean, maybe that could be him if he can get the computer log files doctored. I just want to know why she messed with the Rapture has something to do. Use her web browser to connect to the video surveillance feed. Appears to erase the video surveillance files. 8 a.m. Spreads rumors of Moon's murder by Bird on Twitter. It's just so odd. I mean, she's very sus. He's got a clear motive. He has a clear motive. She's sus because this activity here. Let's search the rest of this guy's place. Find out what else is going on. Please forgive me. I can't do this anymore. I've worked too hard to just watch helplessly as my company collapses. I'm sorry, Jules. So it looks like a suicide note. The ink appears to come from the same purple pen as the one on the desk. Handwritten letter. So we can take a look at the handwriting analysis, which we will probably do. Let's take a look at this card. This is Jules Martin, but there is a hello, brother. It's Victor. I found cheap tickets. 30 hours by plane via Hong Kong. So my flight arrives on Wednesday at 11 a.m. at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. I'll take a taxi straight from there, so I'll get to your place around noon. But don't worry, a pizza is fine for me. The experts have extracted the attached voice signature. This is the voice of fake Jeremy. So here's what happened. We could grab the handwriting analysis. We'll take a look at the handwriting analysis just to make sure that this was actual suicide. Handwriting analysis confirms it is indeed the homeowner, Jules Martin, who wrote this letter in a depressed state. We kind of knew that. Now let's take a look at Victor Martin's file. Because what I want to know is I want to know the connection. No, there is no connection. Okay. This is just a bad phrasing. What this really means is Rapture's, when she's saying someone's setting up a Bird Corporation, what she means is someone is setting them up for success, or someone is covering for them. Someone is, helping them, in illicit ways. That's what she means. She's not using it in the same way that we use the expression like framing someone, right? For misdeeds that they haven't done. She is clear because she follows that immediately with Soit is a thief who made her fortune by privatizing the code of a free and open antivirus tool, which she goes on to explain, I'm not really a bad person, blah, 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 right? The police are just as bad. You're part of a corrupt system that protects people like her. Yes, you're all liars and thieves, sellouts. I won't say it another word. So what happened was this is Victor Martin shows up at his brother Jules Martin's place. Jules Martin has basically intentionally OD'd on alcohol, and killed himself that way. Victor shows up, discovers that's the case, sees the email address of Lou, the person whom Victor blames for ruining, microplay and therefore, Jules's life, and therefore the reason for Jules's suicide. So Victor blamed Blue for the suicide of his brother Jules, which happened the day before. So this happened the night between Tuesday and Wednesday. Then Victor shows up on Wednesday. He says, "Hey, a pizza is fine for me," but he's not alive to order the pizza. He orders the pizza, but he orders the pizza after he's already found his brother dead, and finds information on his brother's computer giving the whereabouts of Blue. So then he kills the pizza delivery guy to impersonate him, to get access to Blue, right, with this information given by Ted Pussum, and then goes and kills Blue. Then Rapture arrives late, discovers what body, and tries to mess with the surveillance footage because she wants to pin the murder on Bird for her own activist agenda. She's the one that was like pushing, according to the testimony of over here, Blue's ex-girlfriend told us that Rapture, right, is the one that got Blue off, on the drugs that made her paranoid and got Blue to basically lose her job at Microplay via accusations and then start going after Bird Corporation. And so all to pursue, Annabelle's activist agenda, right? But so Blue's doing that on her girlfriend's behalf. So when Blue dies, Rapture just takes the opportunity to reframe the murder to try to shift the blame on the Bird to take Bird down, even though Bird was not actually involved in this murder. Okay? So that's what we believe our solution to be. That said, what we're going to do is we're going to look for leads that we didn't follow that could change our thinking. We could take a look at Rapture's police file, which we will probably do. We could take a look at Martin's file, which we're definitely going to do. Okay. We could analyze the pills. That's less important. So let's take a look at Martin's file for certain. And we're likely going to take a look at Rapture's, just to make sure they weren't in on it together, or there was no real feature. So, Victor Martin, 38 years old, Jules Martin's brother, Army trainee, dismissed for insubordination, arrested and tried for assault in 1999 during protests against gay marriage. Went into exile in New Zealand in 2001 to escape a hate crime investigation after assaulting his gay neighbor. Became a New Zealand national in 2008. So he has double reason to not like Blue. Blue is homosexual, and he blames Blue for his brother's company failing and for Jules becoming depressed and taking his own life. He has clear motive. The autopsy report died of strangulation. Doesn't say there was anything used in strangulation, so it might have been a bare hand strangulation by Victor. But let's take a look at, I think we understand what's going on with Rapture, but let's take a look and make sure that there's nothing we're really missing there. So 17. Did we already grab 17? Maybe we already grabbed 17. Oh no, 17 is question record. The police, Rutgers police file is 12, but wrong number. Annabelle Rapture Lenotte. This is her. Arrested and sentenced in 2014 for drug trafficking, 6 months suspended sentence. Reoffended in 2015, 1 year in prison. Rebellious eldest daughter from a wealthy background, her parents pay her legal fees. Unknown residence deals at the Aloud Club. Okay, so that doesn't really tell us anything more. These leads would be toxicology screen. I don't think I'm going to need it other than potentially answering some other questions. And then it's on 28, 33, 49. Oh, microplay press file, but you kind of get what's going on there. We'll take a look at the analysis of those. Toxicology screen. The substance is a stimulant which makes it possible to go long periods of time without sleep. It is sold in the club scene in Paris. It is highly addictive. It is known to contribute to the development of paranormal. So we kind of figured that much, right? Okay. This fingerprint, unfortunately, does not match this one, Vic and Martin, so we don't have him on that. We can get him on the hair more than likely, because this fingerprint matches Jeremy's fingerprint. I don't need a microphone press file, I really don't. I promise I'm not trying to waste your time. Let's take a look here. We just really want evidence that incriminates. Oh. 2 empty bottles of antidepressants with tiny traces of drugs at the bottom. A bottle of homemade flavored rum. Toxicology screen 49, but that's going to tell us the substance is prescription on the antidepressant, alcohol intake with this medication is contraindicated. We kind of knew that. That's just how he took sleeping pills and alcohol and then mixed it for committing suicide. That's what he did. I really want evidence to really tie Victor to the scene. He knows. Well, we have the voice. That's what we have. We have a voice print. That's our evidence. So we're going to lock it in. Okay? So this is what we're locking in. Victor is the culprit. He impersonates Jeremy when delivering, and that's his voice here, impersonating Jeremy to gain access at 10:50, commits the murder, and then basically indicates in the app, oh, I delivered pizza, but then just disappears and doesn't finish any of the routes, and that makes Jeremy's employer upset, but Jeremy's already dead, and well, Jeremy's autopsy report we could look at. That might give us evidence against, let's do that, because that might give us evidence against Victor. 30-year-old man, traces of struggle on the wrist and face, black eye, preliminary report suggests cause of death with blunt force trauma to the head. Body was dragged across the floor and into the chair. Death occurred on Thursday between 9:30 and 10:30 p.m. Yeah, which is why, you know, he shows up to deliver. Victim's eyes were closed post-mortem. Athletic, morphology, vegetarian diet, toxicology, traces of products promoting endurance and muscle performance. So this didn't tell us anything new. But anyway, so we're locking in our solution, like we said. So we got it. All the stuff I said before. Blue was killed by Victor, the brother of Jules, while Victor was impersonating Jeremy, the pizza delivery guy. And Rapture made this all more difficult by documenting the surveillance footage because she wants to pin the murder on Bird. Corporation really had nothing to do with that. Okay? All right. So we're going to go and we're going to give our answers. Main question. What is the cause of Lise Blue Monot's death? It's strangulation. Who is the culprit? It says it's a card number, so it's going to be 39. It's going to be Victor Martin. What evidence connects them to the crime scene? Be 34, because, well, 43 to 34, right? The voice print is what connects them to the crime scene. What are the motives? Homophobia, right? Because he hate crimes against homosexuals. And revenge for the death of his ruin and death of his brother. Follow-up questions. Who supplied the victim with drugs? That would be Rapture. It's a card number, which is going to be 12. Who revealed the address of Blue's office to the murderer? That'd be Ted Poussin, card 37. Who does the detective work for? The detective works for Clarice Pellerin, Juris, card 20. Okay. Solution. What is the cause of Lise Blue Monet's death? We said strangled. Lise Blue Monet was strangled. This is the most likely cause based on superficial inspection of the body. The autopsy confirms a quick death by strangulation. The autopsy detects the presence of chemicals, however, they are not the cause of death. Who is the culprit? The culprit is Jules Martin's brother, Victor Martin, part 39, like we said. What evidence connects them to the crime scene? The video surveillance camera allows us thanks to the files found, 26 on Annabelle Lomax's laptop, to prove the presence of an individual between 11 p.m. and 11:10 p.m. at the time of death. The recordings on the victim's phone allow us to get the voice signature of the pizza delivery man, and matches that of Victor Martin, who left a message on his brother's answering machine mentioning his coming over to France. You get 1 star if you correctly match the voice signatures, which we did. What are the motives? The first motive is revenge. Blue is the initiator of the revelations, which we didn't need to pull that card, but we already knew from that there was going to be a microplay press file, so we know about the revelations, which led to the scandal that sent Jules Martin's company into bankruptcy. This is the reason for his suicide, as he explains his farewell letter, right, to his brother Victor. Homophobia was also part of Victor's motive, which we said, right? So we were correct about revenge and homophobia both. We learned that Victor Martin has a long history of homophobic violence. He stood out in 1999 for his brutality during the protests against gay marriage and later fled to New Zealand in 2001 to escape a hate crime investigation for assaulting his gay neighbor. So we get a little blue star for that as well. Where can the culprit be arrested? Oh, I don't recall them asking that. Oh, they did, and I didn't see it. So before I read, where can the culprit be arrested? Well, looked up places. New Zealand, one of the New Zealand locations, right? Victor Martin is trying to flee the country. We learned that he used the internet around 1 a.m. on the night of Friday and checked if New Zealand has an extradition treaty with France. Then he bought a plane ticket to New Zealand. We know all that because price search for plane tickets to Paris isn't heading to any of these New Zealand. So we knew it was New Zealand. We got that correct. He can therefore be found at the airport on one of the flights leaving for Auckland, Christchurch, Wellington, or Queensland, which we got from that. Yep, card 35. We got all that. Call the questions. Who supplies the victim with drugs? Annabelle, Illinois. Angela Penson confirms that she was using drugs when she worked as a community manager. Mark claimed that it was indeed Rapture who provided them. She also deals the Alouette Club. You can find ecstasies, uppers, type drugs at Blue's Place. The known effects of the drug, toxicology strain, are consistent with Angela's testimony. Okay. Who revealed the address? Ted Poussin, we got that. Got a blue star for that. Alias, cowboy spelled backwards and upside down, is the source of the information. Big fan of microplay video games, whose posters covered the walls of his room. He lost it when Blue attacked microplay on social networks. He sold the address to a private investigator. Yep. But it is in fact his old email, this one, to Jules Martin, which allowed his brother to find Blue. Victor was able to view this email on his brother's computer, which we know. We got all that. We did. Who does the detective work for? We said her. He tells you that he works for Company Bird and that Ms. Pellerin, blue star for guessing that. And there's an expense report. In his place, there's an expense report 51. Right there. For Bird in his name. And Joseph Butcher could learn the same thing from the paperwork found in Bird's offices. Remaining cards. Have you identified Victor Martin's corporate? Identified at least one of the two motives of crime? Yes, you can add a star for each set of 5 remaining cards. We went through extra cards, so we didn't get those extra stars because we knew the solution a while back, but we went ahead and looked at some extra cards just to try to rule out whether Rapture was directly connected to Victor and trying to cover up his crime, or just trying to misdirect blame on the Bird, and she was only just trying to misdirect blame on the Bird. So we solved everything. We just didn't get all the possible stars, but we got a bunch of stars. Epilogue. Game over for Jules Martin. It is with sadness that we learned of the passing of Jules Martin at his Parisian home. The former microplay executive allegedly killed himself at the age of 35. In light of the special circumstances surrounding his death, an investigation has been opened. Jules Martin had created microplay in 2013 based on his own funds and those of his brother Victor. Emma Lasoy
through her specialty fund Bird Invest, had also helped finance the young startup. The company quickly became a major player in video games in Europe and Asia and grew exponentially until the end of 2017. After that, a huge scandal on social media. It says after that, a huge scandal on social media scandal tarnished the company's image in Asian markets. The company never recovered and went bankrupt in 2018. Once again, this death raises the problem of the psychological distress that business leaders experience and how to support them after they have gone bankrupt. The Video Games Union has expressed regret over the loss of this very dynamic French video game industry leader. Mademoiselle, another homophobic crime. Blue, a well-known activist on Twitter, was horrifically murdered at her office. According to a relative of the victim, she was strangled by some lunatic pretending to be the delivery man from her favorite vegan restaurant. He wasn't acting on his own, though. The murderer was allegedly hired by a company Blue had her sights on, still at the heart of the struggles for free software and gender equality in the misogynistic and homophobic world of computer science and video games. But we know that's not actually the case. Remember that she acted as a whistleblower against Microplay, a video game company that discriminated against Asian players, which resulted in her losing her job. The murder is further proof of the growing dangers faced by the LGBT plus community in Paris. The capital of love or a patron? Let's gather tomorrow night in front of the Alouette Club for a vigil on the Louise memory. So that would be the Twitter thing. That would be written by Rapture, but really Bird had nothing to do with it. Neighborhood Watch Letter. Wave of home invasions. Tenants are murdered. The exclusive testimonials of Mr. Hewitt and Mr. Martinet, Paris homeowners. Mr. Martinet. Right here. Yep. These two guys. These young people have erratic lives, unbelievable schedules, unbalanced diets, and are involved in illicit substance trafficking. Renting to these individuals means bringing violence and drug dealers into our condominium. I knew there was something fishy going on. That girl didn't go out anymore. She had no family, no boyfriend, and received exotic-looking friends at home. But I didn't dare complain in the name of privacy and of the laws that overprotect tenants. Now I'm the one who's in trouble because I respect the law. I could very well have been assaulted myself, being in the wrong place at the wrong time while I'm at home. Okay. Rowdy arrest at Charles de Gaulle Airport. This is a lot of small print. Around 9 a.m., Victor Martin, a French citizen who lived in New Zealand since 2008, was arrested at Rosary Charles de Gaulle Airport under the pretext of a security check. Officers approached him in the waiting room of a long-haul flight to Auckland via Hong Kong. Martin immediately assaulted one of the police officers before attempting to flee past the shocked passengers. After setting off an alarm when opening the emergency exit, the fit 38-year-old was only caught once he had reached the airport tarmac. The police restrained the man with great difficulty, as he knew the basics of close combat. Even after being handcuffed, he did not calm down and continued to aggressively insult the officers, calling them faggots, because he's a homophobe. This extraordinary arrest, worthy of an action film, was ordered by the Criminal Investigations Section of Paris, which suspects that Martin is behind a double murder that was perpetrated the night before in the capital. Double murder because it wasn't just Blue, it was also Jeremy, the Victor murder, lest we forget. Jeremy Лагel, a Uber delivery man and well-known enduro cyclist, was found dead at the home of Victor Martin's brother after succumbing to multiple blows to the head. Victor Martin's brother, Jules Martin, was found dead beside Лагel. Jules Martin was a well-known entrepreneur in the world of video games. The theory of suicide has so far been retained for the company head, who left behind a letter to explain why he took his own life. Homicide detectives suspected Victor Martin of killing Mr. Лагel in order to steal his identity as a delivery man and carry out another murder a few streets away. Indeed, following a call received early this morning, the police discovered the lifeless body of a Web 2.0 activist nicknamed Blue at her home on Rue de Paris. The first medical findings seemed to indicate death by strangulation. The young woman happened to be a former employee of the company Microplay, which was led by Mr. Julius Martin before its liquidation in 2018. Blue was fired for serious misconduct after being accused of instigating an online smear campaign against the video game company. Blue was harassed by the Microplay gamers fan community, forcing her to move. According to police, the two cases are connected. Victor Martin must have wanted revenge on the influencer who, according to him, was responsible for his brother's suicide. Martin is in police custody pending further investigation. This is expected to confirm the assumptions put forward by the criminal investigation section. All of this reminds us of the dangers of isolation in virtual communities that are disconnected from reality and feed off the hatred poured out on social networks. For more on this subject, you can find an interview with Boris Gebusek, a psychiatrist who specializes in 2.0 addictions, in our most recent weekend edition, which is still available on newsstands and in bookstores in Paris. All right, we are done. We completely solved the case. We got a bunch of blue stars at the end for answering extra questions. We didn't get blue stars for extra cards, but that's fine because we were super thorough. The two leads that we did not follow had to do with the Microplay press release files. We didn't really know the nature of the scandal. We already knew that she was fired for having, misconduct, for having caused the scandal, which caused Microplay to go into bankruptcy. We knew all of that without having to read what this scandal actually consisted of. So these were unnecessary. Everything else, and there were a few of these that told us things we already knew. We already knew about the antidepressants and the alcohol. We already knew this about the drugs that Blue was on from Rapture, and that they were just basically uppers with the side effect of paranoia, but not the cause of death. So there are a few cards that we drew that we didn't need to. Some autopsy report we didn't really need, on that, but it's fine. We were successful. Good job, us. We got the right person for the right reasons, and found out everything else that was going on, and we're done. And that is Crime Zoom, Bird of Ill Omen. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to put these cards back. All right.
a good game. Enjoyed that. I hope you all enjoyed the reading. I've been silent for the last few months on these cards, but I do appreciate you being along on this journey. Oh, this was the starting. These were the starting ones. So, and I don't think there was a 10. I think it went straight from these to the 11. If I recall correctly. Don't look on it. Oh no, there is a 10. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. That's fine. Alrighty. Okay. Again, we did not take any, we didn't use our tools this time. We didn't take any notes. It was, well, because all the notes were basically right in front of us. This is a more, a different kind of investigation than some of the other systems that we have played, we've done. This has a lot of written information, so you have to take your own copious notes, like you do with systems that do like audio files and big documents that you're trying to summarize and stuff. This had very clear system, some pre-summarized information. Very easy to get into and to do. A lot, nice little, investigative thing, and a small little box. All good to go. We're re-gifting this to friends who have not done it yet. Let's go in. And that is Crime Zoom, Bird of Ill Omen. Have a good one, all.